So recently I have been trying to get my friend who mainly plays Genshin to try out Honkai, and in that I realized a lot of things about Honkai that affects how a player enjoys the game, both positively and negatively. So in this video I want to tell you all about it in this informal experiment. Anyone can agree that Honkai Impact is a heavily story-driven game, so that was what I tried to get my friend invested into because he reads and watches a lot of animes, so I thought it shouldn't be too hard because the game story is pretty good. So the context before I had my friend try Honkai was that one day we were looking at the Honkai Star Rail roster and we were discussing how we would play it once it comes out. That was when I tried to get him to play Honkai Impact to understand the pretext for the setting of Star Rail. I tried and failed multiple times before this because I'm bad at convincing people, but fortunately I managed to do it this time. Anyway, I had my friend play Honkai on his mobile phone and everything seems to be okay until I found out that he skipped all the dialogues and cutscenes all the way into chapter 3.
You what?
When asked about it, I was told that there wasn't anything to hook him into the story and he would rather play for the gameplay, which to be honest, may be true for some people. If you were to ask for my opinions on how memorable the first few chapters around the 1 to 5 range are, my answer would be not really. A lot of what we see from later story chapters just isn't there for the early ones. And this is totally understandable because it was made at the early stages of the game's life. But it doesn't change how vital it is to have a good first impression in the eyes of newer players. We often tell them that it gets good later on or to go read the manga or something, but just how many are willing to go through such a long period of waiting for it to get good? The two worst offenders for dragging down the pacing of the story is the third and the fourth chapter. These two chapters was a drag for my friend because it had a stupid amount of extra stages, which is just a repeat of what you do normally in the main stage, but more boring because some of them doesn't even have a story. But wait, can you just skip those, I hear you ask? Well, you see, the game requires you to be at a certain level to progress to the next chapter, so you are forced to go back and do them either ways. What you get is a game that drags down the pacing so much that it would make someone lose interest in the game entirely. This was the problem I realized upon observing my friend, which just keeps causing more problems as time goes on. I couldn't get him to pay attention to the story, nor can I get him to read any mangas, because there isn't anything that got him interested in the first place. And just like watching a movie, both the visuals and the audio matters, and if even one is ignored, the whole thing will fall apart. If this keeps going, I know that it's only a matter of time before my friend call it quits, and that's when I found the thing that might be able to pull him back. Back when we were looking at the Star Rail roster, my friend took a particular interest in both Bronya and Seele, so I thought about having him read the manga Azure Water, which I know he actually finished after he sent me this message. At that moment, I know that
We got him.
at around the same time, he started to use the first S rank he got, which was Vermilion Knight, which he was enjoying very much. My friend seems to have a curse or a blessing, depending on how you look at it. He seems to always get the characters that are the big sister archetype, like he literally keeps getting Himekos after Himekos on his first week. Oh, and he also got Mobius in like 20 rows. Fucking wrecked.
Dude, Mobius is so much fun.
Anyway, throughout this experience, I have realized what first gets someone interested in Honkai Impact. It wasn't until my friend found someone who he is interested in that he started showing any form of interest in the story. Perhaps this was what the devs realized. They fill the game with such visually appealing characters that caters to the different preferences each person has. And it's when a new player finds interest in a character that the possibility of diving into the story becomes appealing. Now that my friend has taken an interest in a character, he has now started to say a lot more things about other aspects in the game, like the gameplay, because that's why we play games. He started to complain about how stingy MiHoYo is with their crystals and how pay-to-win the system in Honkai is. Most characters have their own tailor-made equipment which you can only get by rolling the gadgets. Any characters with these gears will almost always perform better than when they are equipped with other gears. I don't think many Genshin players would take it too lightly if they need to spend Primogems for an artifact set tailor-made for their characters. You cannot hope to compete in an abyss that pits you against higher spending players in a DPS check arena. Even though Honkai does rerun everything a lot more often than Genshin, it wouldn't help you too much when you basically have no crystals. This game for me is closer to an anime I watch rather than a game I play. Don't get me wrong, I love the gameplay, but I wouldn't think about this game as much if it wasn't for the story, which I believe the gameplay perfectly complements. Like how Void Drifter has a bar that tells you when to stop using too much of her Hershey powers because of how she cannot fully control it yet, and it only serves as a testament to her character development once this restriction was lifted in the latest story. It isn't wrong to look at games mainly for the gameplay because that's the reason we play them in the first place. But it's probably not the best way to enjoy a game that is a blend between a visual novel storytelling game and a button mashing action game. And to this, I would like to know what is it that gotten you hooked into playing Honkai Impact. So please let me know in the comments. Anyway, right now my friend is about to start chapter 7, which he knows that Himeko will be the star, and if he's watching this right now, hi, I hope you're enjoying the game very much, and remember, the gameplay is temporary, but waifu is eternal. Have a nice day.